The bottom line of why I'm here is that I'm really in a position, I'm not here to motivate you, obviously, you don't need that. And a lot of times that's what people think I do, and it's the furthest thing from it. What happens though is people say to me, well, I don't need any motivation. And I say, well, that's interesting, that's not what I do. I'm the why guy. I want to know why you do what you do. What is your motive for action? What is it that drives you in your life today, not 10 years ago, or are you running the same pattern? Because I believe that the invisible force of internal drive activated is the most important thing in the world. I'm here because I believe emotion is the force of life. All of us here have great minds. You know, most of us here have great minds, right? I don't know if I'm in the category, but we all know how to think. And with our minds, we can rationalize anything, we can make anything happen. We can, I agree with what was described a few days ago about this idea that people work in their self-interest, but we all know that you don't work in your self-interest all the time. Because when emotion comes into it, the wiring changes in the way it functions. And so it's wonderful for us to think intellectually about how the life of the world is, and especially those who are very smart. We can play this game in our head, but I really want to know what's driving you. And what I'd like to maybe invite you to do by the end of this talk is explore where you are today for two reasons. One, so that you can contribute more. And two, so that hopefully we can not just understand other people more, but maybe appreciate them more and create the kinds of connections that can stop some of the challenges that we face in our society today. They're only going to get magnified by the very technology that's connecting us, because it's making us intersect. And that intersection doesn't always create the view of everybody now understands everybody and everybody appreciates everybody. So I've had an obsession basically for 30 years. And that obsession has been what makes the difference in the quality of people's lives? What makes a difference in their performance? Because that's what I got hired to do. I got to produce the result now. That's what I've done for 30 years. I get the phone call when the athlete is burning down on national television and they were ahead by 5 strokes and now they can't get back on the course. And I got to do something right now to get the result or nothing matters. I get the phone call when the child is going to commit suicide and I got to do something right now. And in 29 years, I'm very grateful to tell you I've never lost one in 29 years. It doesn't mean I won't someday, but I haven't done it. And the reason is an understanding of these human needs that I want to talk to you about. I don't tell you that to brag, I tell you because I'm proud of human beings because they get excited to contribute once they've had the chance to experience it and not talk about it. So finally, I'm about out of time, the target that shapes you, here's what's different about people. We have the same needs, but are you a certainty freak? Is that what you value most, or uncertainty? This man here couldn't be a certainty freak if he climbed through those caves. Are you driven by significance or love? We all need all 6, but whatever your lead system is tilts you in a different direction. And as you move in a direction, you have a destination or destiny. The second piece is the map. Think of that as the operating system tells you how to get there. And some people's map is, I'm gonna save lives even if I die for other people, and they're a fireman. Somebody else says, I'm gonna kill people to do it. They're trying to meet the same needs of significance, right? They want to honor God or honor their family, but they have a different map. And there are 7 different beliefs. I can't go through them because I'm done. The last piece is emotion. I say one of the parts of the map is like time. Some people's idea of a long time is 100 years. Somebody else says is 3 seconds, which is what I have. And the last one I've already mentioned that felt you. If you got a target and you got a map, and let's say, I can't use Google because I love Maps and they haven't made it good for Macs yet. So if you use MapQuest, how many have made this fatal mistake of using MapQuest at some time? You use this thing and you don't get there. Well, imagine if your beliefs guarantee you can never get to where you want to go. The last thing is emotion. Now here's what I'll tell you about emotion. There are 6,000 emotions that we all have words for in the English language, which is a linguistic representation, right? It changes by language. But if your dominant emotions, if I have more time, I have 20,000 people or 1,000, and I have them write down all the emotions that they experience in an average week. And I give them as long as they need. And on one side they write empowering emotions, the other is disempowering. Guess how many emotions people experience? Less than 12. And half of those make them feel like, so they got 5 or 6 good frickin' feelings, right? It's like they feel happy, happy, excited, oh, frustrated, overwhelmed, depressed. How many of you know somebody who no matter what happens finds a way to get pissed off? How many know somebody like this? Or no matter what happens, they find a way to be happy or excited. How many know somebody like this? Come on.
First, be aware of the mask that you're wearing. First, be aware is to, and be aware and then say, why am I doing this? Why? And start to journal, like what are the things that I still hold on to? What are the things that I don't like talking about? What are the things that I get triggered around? And start to have it written down on a piece of paper in your journal and be aware of it. Be like, okay, here are some things. It's good to know, it's good to be aware. And the next thing is like saying, okay, what's the next step for me? How am I gonna be able to move past this? Who do I need to talk to about this? whether it be my guy friend, girlfriend, wife, parents, whatever it is. Who do I need to address and clear things with so that these things don't own me anymore, but I'm in control of them? I think that's a great first step. And it's an ongoing process. Listen, I wrote the book on this, but it's like I still wear these masks. You know, it's not like I'm like this perfect, actualized, aware, sensitive, loving, vulnerable man 24/7. I get triggered like the best of them. And that's why I have daily practices of meditation, which I know you do, of gratitude, of looking into people's eyes and connecting with them. I also am constantly in appreciation. I'm always saying how much I appreciate people throughout my day, throughout my experiences. I think coming from a place of gratitude allows me to just be focused on the little small things that I'm appreciating, as opposed to fixating on things I'm ungrateful for, or the things that trigger me, or the things that make me mad or aggressive. So it's those little daily practices that really guide me. And also surrounding myself with a good team that I say, hey, listen, give me feedback. If I'm being aggressive, if I'm being this, if I'm being whatever, give me feedback in a loving way. Don't get mad at me, because that's going to make me triggered more. But just let me know in a loving way, like, hey, I feel like you're disconnected from us right now. And so I have a really good team, you know, I would say my personal life team and also my business team. They're all grounded people who give me great feedback. I think it's, you know, setting yourself up the best way you can, because we're going to go through a lot of challenges for the rest of our life, especially if you're up to a big game in life. You're going to go through challenges and adversity. So just try to set yourself up to win, and don't beat yourself up so much for having these things. Like, don't put yourself down more now that you're aware of these things. Just be like, okay, how can I be at peace with this? How can I let it go and be aware of it, so next time it comes up, I see the mask on and I take it off quicker. And that should be our goal.
As I explored evolution by natural selection, I realized there was a deeper reason that I'd never understood before. And the reason is this, that fitness payoffs, which are like, evolution is like a video game. In a video game, you have to go running around in the screen as quickly as you can, grabbing points to try to get enough points to get to the next level. If you do, you get to the next level. If you don't, you die. In evolution, you're grabbing what they call fitness payoffs, but they're like the game points. And, you know, grabbing fitness payoffs that, you know, to food, the right mates, and so forth. But if you get enough, you don't yourself go to the next level. It's your genes that go to the next level in your offspring. And what I realized as I started studying this with my graduate students, Justin Mark and Brian Marion, we discovered that what's really going on is that the fitness payoffs themselves, which is what we're going to be tracking, that's what our senses are going to be telling us about. It turns out that the fitness payoffs themselves, in general, do not carry information about objective reality. They just tell you you're about to die, you're about to get something that you're good, you're bad, don't eat this, eat that.
Have sex with this, don't have sex with that, right?
That's all they're telling you. They're not telling you about the truth. And I can say that more mathematically, they're not homomorphisms of reality. I mean, so for mathematicians, generically, fitness payoff functions are not homomorphisms of structures in objective reality. But intuitively, it's just that fitness payoffs aren't about the truth. They're about what you need to do to stay alive. And that secured it for me. That was a surprise to me that I learned in around 2008, 2009, that evolution was even further against seeing the truth than I'd ever imagined. And so I published a paper in 2010 in the Journal of Theoretical Biology with my two graduate students, where we announced the results of the simulations. We did hundreds of thousands of simulations, and we found that organisms that saw the truth in the simulations went extinct when they competed against organisms that saw none of the truth and were just tuned to fitness. This is equal complexity organisms. And so I proposed then that it was a theorem, that organisms that see reality as it is are never more fit than organisms of equal complexity that see none of reality and are just tuned to fitness payoffs. And I went to a mathematician, Chetan Prakash, a longtime friend, who was actually there in 1986 when we were working on that mathematics. And I proposed this theorem to him, and he's a genius mathematician, and he was able to prove it. So we actually have a theorem, and then we've done further mathematics where we actually show, yeah, in general, fitness payoffs destroy information about the structure of the world. And so it's a theorem. Organisms that see reality as it is cannot outcompete organisms of equal complexity that see none of reality and are just tuned to fitness payoffs.
Focus. Focus is super underrated. Like, if you commit all that you are and all of your energy to one thing, you'll... Okay, this diagram, I took this from a book called, I don't know what it's called, but it goes like this. All right, you can do 10 things to like the first degree, like this right here, and that's how well you'll do all 10 things. Or you can do one thing to the 10th degree right there, and look how much better you do that. So when it comes to focus, to put all of your energy into one thing is to do that one thing really well, to the best of your abilities, to take it all the way. And to scatter yourself means you're never actually accomplishing anything. You're just sort of chipping away at a bunch of nothingness. And this is true for work, this is true for like dating versus committing yourself to one person, friendship, everything. Like, really focusing and investing yourself into something you're passionate about will always yield better results than scattering yourself around, than spreading yourself thin.
I think a lot of people, when I talk to people about this book, they were worried about mistakes they had made. And they were worried about, like, I had this opportunity and I let it go, or I should have done this and I ended up doing something different. I really learned that you can recover from most mistakes. Like, most of us have made mistakes. We've done different things, and that's normal. So there are a lot of different paths. I don't think there's just necessarily one path, for everyone. There's this whole like poem about, the road not taken or the road less traveled, and I took this one and it made all the difference, but we don't really know the other story, right? We don't know what happened. Like, what if you'd actually gone back and taken the other one? Maybe it would have been great too. Maybe it would have been better. So I do think there's more than one path, but I also think when you talk to people who have found the work they were born to do, they are so excited about it. You can tell that they have found something that is really unique and really special. So even though there's more than one path, I think it's important to kind of work toward whatever this special thing is, work toward this combination of factors to where, like, we're really happy and we have all the money that we need, and we're doing something that we're really good at. I think that's the goal, right? So it's not like this one elusive thing, but if you look at really successful people, if you look at Beyonce, like, Beyonce probably could have done a bunch of different things, but isn't it so good that she's doing, what she's doing? Or anyone that you admire, you kind of look at them and you're like, they have really found their thing.